What is going on, guys? And here is a little bit of recap on Limbo. I did release that other video, and I was still kind of trying to figure out if they changed him or what they did. It's pretty different from the way I used to play him, so I made a different build that should work better for him. This is not as range focused, it's more efficiency focused and crowd control. It's also not as much damage focus, so we'll go over to it. Start off with Energy Siphon, Cunning Drift, Continuity, Narrow-Minded, Rift Torrent, Fleeting Expertise, Streamline, Stretch, Vitality, and then Speed Drift. This really isn't what I want to put here because of the way I have him formed. As you can see, I have him 2 forma. I could forma him again and kind of change this build up just to accommodate for something like Prime Flow. As you can see, this one doesn't have a flow at all, but hopefully we won't be needing it because our efficiency is so high and because he regenerates so much energy. So, of course, recap on the abilities. Now you can see our durations are around about the same. Our range is a lot lower, but even with a quote-unquote low range, we'll still be able to crowd control a lot of the enemies. And our efficiency knocks everything down to our first one being 6, then 13, 13, and 25. So that being said, that should allow us to really put up a lot of crowd control very quickly. I do want to go ahead and test this in the simulator, because if it works in the simulator, then ideally it will work against basic enemies. Of course, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, the simulator is ideal conditions. I want to try this in the simulator because I'm able to crank up the enemy level and I don't have to do like a hour, 2-hour survival or whatever to get the enemies to be high enough. So I'm just going to do it in the simulator, and hopefully this will even make it more viable to use against lower level enemies because our power strength isn't as high. In the other build, our power strength was about 130, and I think it now is just basic 100. I do have another build where his power strength is cranked up to 271, which I think is like the highest you can get it to. And it's a pretty crazy build, but it's really only good for low-level stuff and if you have a lot of energy. So we're going to go ahead, crank up our enemy level to 105. Okay, real quick, I'm gonna get energy, cap us out on energy. We'll spawn in all of them, and we'll see if this works a little bit better. So we're gonna jump into the rift, cast stasis, point our bubble over there, close our bubble. Oh, just kidding. Bubble, Rift Surge, close bubble, and I got shot by one of the other enemies because I left the bubble. Alright, let's try this one more time. Bam. Put our bubble here, stasis, Rift Surge, close bubble, dash back in, cast Rift Surge again, and as you can see, our energy is still pretty high. We were able to cast all those abilities, no problem, and now we're at full energy. And we still have the ability to continue to use our abilities. Okay, we're going to close stasis, reactivate stasis, bubble again, Rift Surge, close bubble, Rift Surge again, go back in here. Barely taking any energy away. That is what I wanted to see. That makes this a lot more viable. Okay, so break stasis, cast stasis, cataclysm, Rift Surge, close, Rift Surge, back in, Come on. There we go. Gonna build up our combo meter a little bit. It is worth noting that if you hit them in the face when they are frozen like this, you'll be able to do a finisher. It kind of depends on what enemy and where you're at, given his location. And sometimes it'll glitch and not let you do the finisher, sometimes it will. But as you notice, even when we kill enemies in the Rift and everything like that, we lose our Rift Surge, which is okay, because that is based on how many enemies you have to deal with. So again, stasis, open, he's stasis, Rift Surge to keep him in, close the bubble, Rift Surge again to get your bit of damage boost if you're using Rift Torrent. If not, you don't need a Rift Surge again. But that works exactly how I intended it to. So once you get a little bit of energy, you'll be able to keep going and use your abilities as needed. I really like to show off this. This is how I really test if I have decent crowd control abilities, especially if I have to play something solo. If you spawn in these guys, they spawn in all their dogs, and of course you can have them be level 105. Their dogs spawn around, 38, yeah, 70. Some of them spawn high level. So this is how I like to test the crowd control capabilities. Rift Surge to keep them in, close it, dash back in, Rift Surge to get your damage bonus. Our damage bonus is super high, and like you see there, you just hit, I think that was 5 million, like nothing. So I feel like this would be really good on, you know, huge long survivals. I don't really do those very often, but there are some people that's all they play the game for. To them I say awesome, I'm glad you can get that far, but I like testing out a lot of builds and messing with a lot of stuff. Alright, so stasis. Wherever you put your cursor is usually where the bubble will go. So that way if you're using like really low range, it don't crouch. It shows you where your bubble will be placed. But we still have full energy, and also enemies killed in the Rift will give you energy. Again, if this isn't your thing, this is really just how Limbo's played. Oh, dang it, I messed that up. This is really just how Limbo's played, just because he divides everything in the Rift. So, I mean, it is kind of annoying having to cycle through a bunch of abilities, but I don't really mind. I like having the crowd control capability and just freedom to smack statues in the face and get really, really high damage numbers. But I just wanted to redo that Limbo video a little bit. I'll still keep the other one up because it shows my like in-game-ish build. I have another build that's all about damage and using his 4, but again, it's energy hungry, and it's really just for low level, like Hydron, that one defense that I showed earlier. You can use it to just open your 4 and close your 4 repeatedly, and it'll do an AoE explosion. That's kind of like using Ember's World on fire, but it's energy hungry, so you just have to place down a lot of energy restores and use it like that. But don't really enjoy using that build. I feel like it gets really boring. I like doing melee, so this build accommodates for that, given the high efficiency and not worrying about using a lot of energy. But that pretty much sums up the build. Again, thank y'all for tuning in, and leave a like, comment, subscribe if you like what's on my channel. Tell me what I can do better, tell me what I can do worse. And as always, I will see y'all next time.